This is The Guide Gals, a modern wedding-focused podcast by the experts at Here Comes the Guide. Today, it's just Chelsea. I'm a designer and inspired creative who's probably racked up over 9,000 hours on Pinterest and the friend who's going to shoot it to you straight. You can think of us as an extension of your wedding party and hang out with us as we share the ins, outs, ups, and downs of the road to I do. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Like I just said in the modified intro, it's just Chelsea today, so a little solo episode for you. And today, I'm going to be talking all about pets at your wedding and how to include them at your wedding, whether or not you should include them, you know, in a physical sense on your wedding day, and really what that looks like. So Caroline and I both have pets, so we're both dog moms. I am a mom to only a dog, but I know Caroline has cats as well. So we both really love animals, and we both take our role as pet parents very seriously. And I know a lot of people do. Like, this is really a big consideration, and I know for a lot of people, your pet is like your family. So I certainly agree with that, and your wedding day is obviously a huge day and so personal. So to be able to have your pet there with you, your best friend, is, really great. And if you're not able to have them with you there actually on your wedding day, if it ends up not being the best choice for you, I want to talk about ways that you can still honor them, even though they're not there physically. So yeah, first I want to get into thinking about, should you bring your pet to your wedding? So there are quite a few things to think about when it comes to this. So having your dog there or your pet in some way, maybe it's a dog, maybe it's a cat. I've never seen cats at weddings, but it can certainly happen, I am sure, or even like a horse. I know some people's pets are horses, and I have seen horses at weddings, but it can really elevate your wedding, and make it have that really personal detail. And I mean, of course, it would mean a lot to you. So being able to share these special moments with your pets is really great. In this episode, I think I'm going to take a step back and mostly talk about dogs, because I think that for the most part, those are the ones that we're thinking about including. Of course, this can create really heartwarming memories for your special day. And I'm just thinking about the photos that they'll be included in as well. So cute. But when you're incorporating your dog into your wedding, you have a lot to think about. Stuff like their well-being, your venue policies, and the comfort of your guests too. So firstly, let's dive into the emotional impact on your dog. So dogs, they really thrive on routine and familiar environments. I mean, I am lucky enough to have been able to travel with my dog quite a bit, and I really push the boundaries and take her as many places as I can. But for the most part, our dogs are more so used to their own backyard, the neighborhood that they take walks in, their dog park maybe that they frequent, and the couch that they hang out on most of the time. So when you think about taking them to an event like a wedding, first of all, it's an entirely new environment that they've never been there before. And it is it can be a real sensory overload. There's going to be a bunch of people, unfamiliar sights, lots of sounds, lots of smells that they're not used to. So really the very first step, I think, is assessing your dog's temperament. So are they easily startled? Are they prone to anxiety in crowds? Do they require a really quiet or controlled environment? So including them in a potentially stressful situation, it could backfire. It could lead to disruptive behavior. It could even lead to them hurting themselves in some way, a trip to the vet. So that's something to really think about, because of course you love your dog. You probably want them there, but that might be an absolute nightmare. They might have a truly bad time. So that is number one to think about. Also though, you need to navigate your venue's restrictions. So many wedding venues have strict pet policies. So some of them prohibit animals entirely. And that is super understandable for sure. But some are going to be more strict than others, and some might surprise you, because even getting married on maybe like a rustic farm or something like that, they might have other animals on the property. But even because of that reason, they might say, oh, you know what, we can't actually accommodate your dog here on the property because of the disruption it might cause to our animals, or because we're worried about them possibly getting hurt, or, whatever. The list could go on. And then it goes without saying that if you're at maybe, like a more luxury hotel, like a resort type thing, maybe like a boutique, situation, they might not include pets because that's just their strict policy. And you might think that your pet is like the goodest boy around, but at the end of the day, things happen, accidents happen. And I'm sure that if they have a pet policy that they're strict about and they are restrictive of, there's a good reason for that. So before you, start really making plans for your pet to be part of your special day, it's really crucial to confirm what the venue's stance is on pets. So if you disobey these policies, obviously you could jeopardize your wedding. It would also cause like a bunch of unnecessary stress. But if this is seriously something that you have to check in on. And if this is going to be one of those non-negotiable things for you, meaning if you know that you want your dog in your wedding, that they will have a good time there, they can handle it. And like that is something that it's a non-negotiable for you. You need to have that as part of your wedding. Then that needs to be one of those questions that as you're searching for your venue, you should absolutely be asking them. You should be making sure that they're pet friendly before you get too far with signing any contracts or picking any dates, anything like that. All right, the next thing that you need to think about is prioritizing your guests. So you might love your dog once again, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your entire guest list loves animals and dogs and whatever. At the end of the day, it is your wedding, so it is your decision. And if it's something that means a lot to you, I think that can kind of trump your guests. But if your guests have allergies or they're scared of dogs, it really is just something to think about. And at the very least, something to, be aware of, it, meaning that you have like some sort of plan for someone who's going to be looking after the dog, making sure it's not running up and jumping on, like grandma. Like if you have a big, if you have a giant dog and he goes and jumps on like maybe someone who's not prepared for that and knocks them over, like you got a problem on your hands. So like I said, you might adore your dog. Some guests might have allergies or phobias related to them. So it is something to think about to respect their comfort. You should consider your guest list, weigh all of the potential for discomfort against the joy of including your dog. Once again, that doesn't necessarily have to be a reason to say, you know what, we absolutely can't have the dog there, but it is something to think about. Bringing a dog or an animal of any kind into a situation like this, it brings up just a little bit more complicatedness to all of it. Okay, so when it comes down to making the right choice, the decision to include your dog in your wedding should prioritize their comfort and their well-being pretty much above all else. Like I mentioned earlier, if they're going to have a really bad time, if your dog's going to have anxiety, and even to think about when your dog's anxious, what do they act like? An anxious dog can sometimes be a scary thing. They might act out, they might get aggressive, things to think about. So careful planning and alternative options can ensure a really great celebration for everybody, including your dog. Another thing to remember, a wedding is a celebration of love, and that love does extend to your respecting your dog's needs and ensuring a stress-free experience for everybody involved. So, all of that said, if you decide that your wedding maybe isn't the best place for your dog, but you really still want to honor them in your special day, I have a few ideas here for you. So there are quite a few ways that you can do this. One thing that I suggest is maybe like at your engagement shoot or even after your wedding, if you want to do an extra set of, photography, like a photo shoot that includes your dog or dogs or whatever animals. So that way you have those like photo memories of them like on your special day. Maybe it's not exactly your special day, but in a way that's like much more low key and relaxed and manageable for you and your pet. I think that that's a really great way to, include them in the memory. On the actual wedding day, you can also, I've seen a lot of people feature their pets in some sort of custom illustration. So they will have an illustrator create, like I said, a custom illustration of your pet, which is so cute. And this can be used all over the place. So I've seen it on napkins. I've seen people use it on their invitations or their save the dates. I know that's not on the actual day, but still a place to put it. I've seen it on custom signage, like around, I've seen it before where someone has the illustration of their dog and it'll say like, our dog's name welcomes you to the wedding of whoever. That's pretty cute. I've seen it on seating charts, menus. So, really the list goes on. Anywhere that you could possibly pop an illustration on something, you can absolutely put it there. But yeah, I think that's a really cute one. You can also feature photos of them in your decor. So of course you probably have lots of great images of your pet already, and you can sprinkle these around your space. Or if, like I mentioned just a moment ago, if you did end up doing some sort of photo shoot with your pet, maybe like at your engagement photos, you have your pet involved. Those would be great photos to include in your decor around that include your pet. So you can also use these at tables or as table numbers, kind of. I think that's really cute too. I've seen people get like pretty creative with including photos of some kind, personal photos at tables for the dinner time, which I think is great. I think people really like to look at them, and including your pet is very special, of course. Another thing that I have seen that I really love is naming a signature drink after them. This is so cute. Whatever the signature drink is, you can just call it like Max's potion. That's probably a bad name. But Max's Mojito maybe is a better one. That's a better one for sure. But I think that that's really cute. You could also create a custom sign for this. A lot of people have some sort of custom sign if they have a signature drink. And that's another place you can put that custom illustration if you got that. You can also feature them in your favors. So if you have some sort of favor that you're giving them, it can have something to do with your pet. Once again, you could include an illustration there. You could include some sort of photo on whatever the favor is. I've also seen something like a doggy bag, if people have something to take away that maybe features the dog's name, maybe an illustration, maybe something cute in that way. But in some way, it's like a doggy bag that like features the dog in some way, like I said. So you could use this, of course, for favors of some kind, if that makes sense. But I know we've talked on earlier episodes as well about like a cookie table. And with these cookie tables, there's, a bunch of cookies. And a lot of times people are able to take the extras home with them. So it acts as a type of favor. And a doggy bag would be the perfect thing for this, and it would make it just like a super cute detail. It's all about those cute details. Yes, so anyway, that's all I have for you. If you do include your pet in your wedding, please let us know how that goes. We would love to hear from you in any capacity on that. If you have special photos with your pet at your wedding, we'd love to see those too. And if you have thought of any creative ways that you can feature your pet or honor them without them actually being there physically with you on your wedding day, please let us know too, because I know people get way more creative with this than I pretty much dipped my toe in the water there. But yeah, we would love to hear from you. If you have any questions on this or anything else, you can find more from us on our website at theguidegalspodcast.com. On here, you can reach out to us through our contact form and ask us any questions that you might have. We also have a bunch of free resources for you there for planning, as well as our full episode library. And you can find us on Instagram at The Guide Gals Podcast. You can find us on YouTube. All of our episodes have a video component on the Here Comes the Guide YouTube channel. We are on TikTok as well at The Guide Gals Pod. But yes, that's where you can find us. This has been a fun one. I'm obsessed with my dog. I know Caroline is as well. So any way that we can talk about pets or dogs or anything, we're always excited to. But until next time, cheers.